I have been selling this book, Zanazli and Wan Chun Hong's Guide to Indie Filmmaking, which is published by MPH, for a while now. It's a really good book if you want to be a filmmaker, whether it's for YouTube, social media, TV, film, cinema, whatever. This is the book to get. I'm going to make it more accessible and more affordable to all of you because I believe that everybody needs to become a filmmaker. The more filmmakers we have in the world, I think this world will be a better place to live in. Now it's available as an electronic book download on my website. I'm going to link it here. It's really cheap, it's really affordable. It's only 5 ringgit if you want to get the ebook version. Okay, 5 ringgit. It doesn't really cost much, right? It's just a little bit of something for me. I mean, it did take a lot of work to write. Each chapter of this book talks about one part of the filmmaking process. And for each chapter as well, I interview a local filmmaker. It's only 5 ringgit. It's only 5 ringgit. You're watching and listening to Fat Bidin Film Club. I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
I'm Shawai Busawan.
As usual, every week we watch a local film and we review it. And this week, we didn't go to the cinemas. We watched something that was on Netflix. We wanted to watch it in the cinemas, but we missed it. But it's all on Netflix, and it's a Tamil movie called Poochandi. What is the film about? I've never heard any of the filmmakers. I haven't never heard of the director or the writer or anything like that. But some of the people who are acting in the film I recognize from other Tamil movies lah.
So the film is directed by J.K. Wiki, whom we don't know. And the film is about a journalist from India who writes paranormal stories. So he's come to Malaysia and he interviews this person who has had a paranormal experience through playing Spirit of the Coin. So it bounces back and forth from the experience of the person playing Spirit of the Coin to the present day, and then from there it sort of moves along. Yeah, that's what the film is about.
Yeah, what did you think of the film?
Okay, so I actually really like the film. I think it's another horror movie, if that was in a horror thriller type thing, if that wasn't clear. But it had such good build, I felt. It really keeps you at the edge of your seat. You don't really know what's happening, and I thought it was interesting that they used the whole Spirit of the Coin thing, which is kind of like a Malaysian thing, when you're kids and then you want to try and play Spirit of the Coin or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't really understand why 3 grown men were playing Spirit of the Coin, but okay, fine, I'll go along with it. It was just really cool how the story developed. The pacing was a little bit too slow. I know that it was deliberate, but I felt like it could have been a little bit faster. But other than that, I thought it was actually a really good film.
Yeah, I thought the film was a good film too. I didn't have any problems with the pacing though. I thought it was okay. There was a lot of trying to build the horror and the tension and all that. So I thought it was very nicely done. There's really nothing much to complain about the film, except for the same fact that you said just now, the Spirit of the Coin . I was interested in Spirit of the Coin when I was 10. Why are these adults so fascinated by Spirit of the Coin? I was 10 years old, so 10 or 11, we played the Ouija board. And that also we didn't really believe it. Like to see a group of grown men taking it so seriously, that one a bit cannot comprehend . They must be really stupid people. You know what I want? You know what I mean? To actually at that age to want to be fascinated by Spirit of the Coin . But other than that, I thought the film was great. I really liked the fact that it played on people's desperation. How people are desperate in whatever situation that they're in. Whether financially or just life in general. And when people are pushed to a corner, when they're so desperate, they are willing to do things in order to improve their lives, improve their situation. And that's, I think, that is the best part about this film, because it shows the human aspect of these characters you know. And other than that, technical wise, I don't know, there's nothing for me to say, nothing to complain, nothing to nitpick also don't have. It was quite tight. It's good. It's not the greatest story ever, but it was just done decently, you know. Yeah, quite decently done.
I also like the historical element. There's a historical element to it. It really felt like so many different things put together so well. So it really reminded me of Sanjay's sort of short film where he talks about the ferry incident that his father passed away in, the day the river ran red. And it had a little bit of that element, but also a little bit of the fiction and the horror and the thriller, and it just comes together so nicely. But it was just so nice the way they put in that historical element, because we don't really see a lot of Indian history or films that have to do with like Malaysian Indian history. So it's really just really well done.
Yeah, the historical part of it. You know how Malaysia is when it comes to history, right? They erase anything that has nothing to do with Muslim and Islam, right? Even though the Chandi in Kedah and all that was all Hindu based, right? So this one brought that up So that I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually like the end part where they speak to, was it a priest?
I think it's a historian.
Or a historian who was talking about this Poochandi culture in Hinduism.
Yeah.
No, not to say that I didn't like it. It's great that they put that in. But I don't know, I find it a little bit cliche when films include a bit of reality at the ending credits. You know, to explain things like, no need lah. We get it enough already lah, you know. And also because it's based on reality, it's quite different than the Malay horror films that we see, because Malay horror films always, either at the beginning or the end, they will always put a disclaimer: this is only tahyul, it's a dream, or it's not real, this is fantasy, you know, try to like a disclaimer to show that it's not real. But this one is like, oh, this was loosely based on the real story, you know, like, this one okay how come this one boleh pula?
I like the historian at the end.
I didn't.
Because I feel that context is necessary for the Malaysian audience. Like, if people who are not Hindus, maybe not Malaysian Indians, or maybe even Malaysian Indians who didn't grow up specifically like hearing these folk tales or knowing this, they wouldn't really get that this is actually seriously part of history. So I felt like in a Malaysian context that
it was necessary.
Was necessary lah. Yeah.
No, because like if you watch movies that are based on facts, right? It, to me, if you have to explain it at the end and show something real, it kind of like defeats the purpose of the story already. Like, you know, the terminal. You know the show The Terminal, about the guy who died in the guy who lived in a airport terminal because he had no country to go to, right?
Yeah.
It's based on a true story, but there's no like at the end of the film, oh, now we interview the real guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it should be already in the story, and I don't know, it was too direct lah. Like hey, you don't know this let me tell you, let me show you this. It's kind of like, to me, it's like when you write a script with dialogue, the dialogue explains all the story instead of showing it in a film. Something like that. So it was a little bit too on the head and too cliche lah.
But I felt like for this film specifically, it was necessary lah.
Because the audience wouldn't get it.
Because the audience wouldn't get it.
He's saying the audience is
you need to be educated lah. I definitely was educated because I knew nothing about this, and I had heard that there were historical elements in the film, but I didn't know what they were. And if you had asked me to point it out, you know, I wouldn't have been able to without the historian. So it was good lah. For me, I felt like it was necessary.
Yeah.
And I think to most of the Malaysian audience also, yes, definitely.
I think this you can relate this to Mat Kilau. Like how Mat Kilau is also, like they say, it's loosely based, right? Yeah, it's like loosely based on Mat Kilau, but it's actually not. And they have a lot of liberties, creative liberties to tell the story. Just like the Wong Fei Hongs and the Ip Man movies and all that, right? A lot of it is just loosely based. But they didn't necessarily have to tell it. You know, people would make an effort. Either they would find out the context themselves after watching the film, or going into it, they would have found out a little bit. But like you said lah, probably the Malaysian audience, they wouldn't. But they wouldn't want to find out, or they just go in like straight like that, or.
And also, what if this piece of history is actually very hard to find? You know, because people aren't talking about it enough or at all. So, yeah. But you know, if Malaysia was a little bit more diverse in history and in culture, like actually diverse, then these kind of things wouldn't be necessary lah. Then I would say yes, it's a cliche to put these things at the end. But looking at where this film is coming from and the community it represents and the history that it's talking about, confirm you need the context, because more often than not, most likely the Malaysians won't get it otherwise.
So it would be needed to educate a non-Indian, non-Hindu audience, because the Indian community and the Hindu community would already know.
No, but like I said also, what if you grow up you grew up Malaysian, Indian, Hindu, but you also don't actually know. Maybe you grew up in an urban setting, you didn't grow up in, where was this film set? Nibong Tebal. Maybe then also you wouldn't know. So it's necessary lah.
Yeah.
That's what history books are all about. Melayus fighting white people, and then Chinese and Indian people coming and then have to separate into villages, and then one Melayu fella with his Chinese bro and then one Indian bro go and get independence.
That's why maybe we want to ask you. Do you guys remember history lessons in school? Were we taught Parameswara as being a Muslim or Hindu? Is Parameswara Hindu or is Parameswara a Muslim? Founder of Malacca, right? So what was Parameswara actually? Hindu? Buddhist? Muslim? Christian? Jewish?
Atheist?
Atheist.
Comment below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, would you tell people to watch the film?
Yes. Please watch the film.
Yeah, you can watch.
We so need more films like this. This is what we mean when we talk about a diverse, Malaysian cinema culture, where they tell stories that represent different communities. I loved it so much.
You know what it also shows? Because the film was so Indian Hindu centric, right? There were no other characters in there. No Malays, no Chinese, no any other ethnicity in there. It kind of also represents that maybe how polarized Malaysia is. The Indian community just with the Indians only.
Yeah.
The Chinese just with Chinese only.
Yeah.
The Malay just with the Malay only.
Yeah. It's a very good example of how you don't necessarily need representation in all films lah, to tell a good story.
Yeah. Because it's a like I said, the best part of the film was the human element.
Yeah.
And that human element is a universal element lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really comes through lah. Story of friendship, story of desperation.
But I'm afraid the polarization of the communities is going to limit the audience of this film, because a Malay audience might not want to go and watch this film. A Chinese audience might not want to go and watch this film.
Yeah, but a lot of Malays watched Makilau and felt differently about it. So who knows? Maybe they'll also give this a chance. Malaysians lah in general, not just Malays. So yes, please watch this film. It's on Netflix. It's trending on Netflix, so that's a good sign. I think it's a really good film. I'm happy that it's made it to Netflix. I feel like there should be more films like this. I really hope that they make more films like this, and there are more opportunities for more filmmakers to come up with films like this. I'm really sad we missed it in the cinema, and the only way that we heard that it was good also was like through word of mouth. It wasn't like a Matkilau thing where it was just plastered everywhere, so that was kind of sad. So I guess it goes back to that thing that we talked about, how films are distributed and marketed. So this film definitely deserves a boost lah. So yes, watch it please. Would you tell people watch it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yes. Watch it. And tell us what you think. Like this video, don't like this video. Subscribe to all our social media channels at Bidin, or go to fabidin.com to get everything.
You're watching the Bidin Film Club and listening, and I'm Zan Azli.
And I'm Shal Ibusawan.
Okay, come.